so when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? When I was younger, a lot of people say, well, man, you grew up in the suburbs. How bad could your life have been? And the truth is, my life wasn't bad. My life wasn't bad. I mean, I had a roof over my head. I had food. I didn't have no problems. I mean, I had parents, at least a mother who, tried to fucking give a shit about me. I had two dads. Neither one of them motherfuckers gave a shit about me. You know what I'm saying? I had two dudes that could have taught me how to be a man. Neither one of them motherfuckers did it. So here, fuck you to both of you. I mean, I ain't bitter, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and act like, my dad taught me how to be a man. But that's why, I learned how to be a man in jail. You know what I'm saying? I just was smart enough to trim the fucking fat off of the shit that was super unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? And I said, well, if I ever have some kids, then I'm going to make sure that I am everything to those kids that my dad wasn't to me. So when I was young, I mean, shit, the first time, I think I was in fucking third grade when I got kicked out of my first fucking school, when I got kicked out of school for the first time. I was in third grade. I remember getting a call in the middle of the summer saying, hey, listen, you're kicked out of school. You're going to have to go to the fucking BD school. And then I got lucky at the end of the fucking beginning of the next year. They said, oh, we're going to stick you in the BD class. So if you don't know what the BD class is, the BD class is where they take you and the other assholes, and they wouldn't do this shit now. Nowadays, they'll fucking get like, oh my God, are you labeling those babies? You know what I'm saying? But back then it was, hey, you bad motherfucker, go sit in that fucking room over there, you and the rest of the fucking degenerates, all right, and try not to fuck nobody up. You know what I'm saying? And the thing was, it wasn't just bad, because it was fucking weirdos too, lots of weirdos. So I get stuck in the BD class, you know what I'm saying? A year later, a lot of shit there, man. A lot of, you get mainstream to the one class, and you get to go and they treat you being normal like it's some kind of badge of honor. They started, and that was right about the time they started pumping me full of fucking pills, right? Right? Because I mean, hey, let's pump the kid full of pills. That's what you do. What do you do when you can't control your kid? Most parents, they pump you full of fucking kid. They pump you full of pills. I remember fifth grade. That my first time I ever got sent away, I was in fifth grade. All right, I was in fifth grade, and they sent my ass away for like 2 months to this fucking hospital. They stuck me in a hospital, Mercy Center Hospital in Aurora. All right, I remember like it was yesterday. And they stuck me in there because I walked with my head down and I was so much trouble in school, and they gave me a bunch of pills. They said, here you go. You're going to take your Ritalin, you're going to be better. There's something wrong with you, you're broken. So imagine that, man. I'm not complaining, but imagine you're fucking fifth grade. That's 10 years old. I'm 10 years old. And they're telling me, you're broken, kid. You got to take this fucking pills, and you got to fucking have them. You know what I'm saying? You got to have these pills. You cannot function in society if you don't. You're a diabetic. This is like your insulin. Now, it's funny they said that, because I am a diabetic now, and I'll tell you, Ritalin ain't nothing like insulin, So that was kind of the start of my real problems, because at that point I knew that A, okay, there's something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? And B, you know what I'm saying? And B, these motherfuckers, nobody's going to teach me how I'm supposed to act. I'm just supposed to figure this shit out myself. So, and again, I'll probably jump all over the place with this shit, but like I said, there's no script here. You know what I'm saying? I may go back and edit it and clip some shit and see what I like and put it in a separate order. All right. So fifth grade, I get stuck in this hospital for 2 months. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I'll be honest with you. It's 2 of the best months I had as a kid. You know what I'm saying? From a young age, I learned that I don't want to be in my house. I mean, my house was real simple. Stepdaddy didn't want me around. You know what I'm saying? Stepdaddy didn't want me around. I was just the dude fucking up his kids. I had one brother that from my other dad, and I had two half brother, half sister. And they made it real clear that I was not to fuck up their other kids, man. All right? That's fine. No problem. Just letting you know, and I'm not telling you these things for sympathy. I'm telling you these things so you can understand. This is why, these are the ways, again, this is not intended to glorify anything. This is intended to show people, whether it be kids who are going to be parents someday or parents, look, this is how you fuck your kids up. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not mad. My mother did everything she could possibly do to try to make me right. She didn't know no better. She listened to the experts, and the experts were all fucking wrong. What I needed was to have my ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? But by the time they finally tried to whoop my ass, you know what I'm saying, I had already learned how to manipulate. And I learned how to manipulate at a young age. I learned at a young age that all I got to do if I want to get my way is throw a big enough fucking spaz attack, and I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Put some holes in the wall, maybe chase a motherfucker around with a knife, whatever, man. I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, they're steady changing this medicine to the point where by the time I was in 8th grade, I was on 7 different medications at one time. 7. Understand, I'm in 8th grade. All right, by this time, I've already been kicked out of 2 schools. You know what I'm saying? I've already been kicked out of 2 schools. I punched my fucking principal in the fucking eye. You know what I'm saying? I fucking, you know what I'm saying? I had literally so I'll tell you. So here's a fun story for you. So I think I'm in 8th grade, and my buddy gets into a fight with somebody. Right? And again, I had learned from an early age that I could blame everything I wanted to. Everything I wanted to do, I could learn. I learned that I could blame on this illness. On this, they say you're broken. So hey, all I had to do was do some shit and be like, oh, forgot to take my pills. We're like, oh, well, see, that's why you got to take your pills. So understand that, people. Kids are not fucking stupid. And that's why I'm so effective with kids these days, working with kids, because I see through that shit. I know. I'm not dumb. I know these motherfuckers try to manipulate me. And anybody will tell you, man, I'm the kid whisperer. I can get kids to achieve things and do things and believe in things that they never would believe in. So my buddy gets, he gets in a fight with somebody, right? And I don't remember what happened, you know what I'm saying? So he gets in a fight with Dan, with this dude. We're gonna call him Dan, right? So he gets in a fight with Dan and whatever, and Dan ends up in the in-school suspension at Marquardt Middle School. So what does my ass do? Oh, you ain't gonna fuck with my boy, right? So I walk up in the motherfucking in the room, in the fucking in-school suspension room, all right? And I start whooping this motherfucker's ass. You know what I'm saying? So I start whooping his ass. Beep, 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 beep. And he's like, oh, you're not going to push me around. I just beat this dude from fucking pillar to post for about 5 minutes while the teacher stood there and fucking and waited, right? You know, so that was kind of, that among other things was kind of what got me kicked out of school and out of Marquardt. You know, about halfway through the season. I never got to graduate with my class. I never got to do the graduation rituals with them. You know what I'm saying? I was persona non grata at that school, man. They did not want me there. They sent me to a place called Little Friend School, right? Now it is what it is. It's in fucking Naperville, all right? And I went there, and I would ride an hour and a half every day to go to school. And it was, and I'll be honest, it was just another place that taught me how to manipulate. You know what I'm saying? But over there's like 6 kids in a classroom and everything's points and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up in that, so I ended up whooping Dana Rivera's ass, right? And after that, they kicked me out. And then I'm at Little Friend School and whatever. And I'll tell you know what I'm saying? The Little Friend School, so I get there and I think I'm tough, right? But there's another dude there, man. He just fucking punked my ass out, right? So and I'll talk about those things. I'm not afraid to be like, hey, listen, I did this, or hey, I did that, or this dude whooped my ass, or this dude punked me out, or I did this shit. Because it's all part of how I learned, you know what I'm saying, over my life. Anybody who says they ain't never had those problems, they ain't never been in shit that, you know what I'm saying, and never really been no shit. And that's how you learn, you know what I'm saying? There's always I think until you're honest with yourself, you know what I'm saying, you say, look, these are all the things that kind of made me who I am today, you know what I'm saying, and I want other kids to understand that, look, just because that shit happened, just because somebody, fucking, made you feel, small or insignificant at that minute, you don't gotta pick up a gun and go kill them. Because that's where a lot of the fucking shootings come from. Is motherfuckers feel like they're insignificant or whatever, so they decide they want to go and start shooting motherfuckers up. So I'm in Little Friend School. I've been there for probably about, probably 6 months. I got there within a couple weeks, and this one dude, he's crazy. So he's crazy. I think he's got. I mean, the amount of dudes that I grew up with that have life right now, that I either grew up with, or that I knew, or that I ran into in, like, especially in the juvenile joint, literally my whole hallway is like that I was in there with for 6 months or whatever. I was in there for like a year and a half in Joliet. Almost every one of them motherfuckers got a murder. Almost everyone. It's ridiculous, man. I take my sons and we go look at it sometimes. Look, that guy there, that guy there, that guy there, that guy there. So anyway, so anyway, the dude that fucking kind of punked my ass out when I got there, he's got a fucking murder right. He's got a murder right now. So, so 6 months later, whatever, 6 months into me going to school there, somebody pops up. So they say, oh, we're getting a new kid in class. They'll get a new kid in class over there was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're going to get a new kid in the class. Because they really did a good job in there of, like, pushing positivity and shit. Like, you'd get points for, doing good and shit. And you could buy candy and shit like that. It was really just some fucking manipulate you with candy to act right shit when you look back on it. But it was understandable. My teacher's name was Mrs. Guess. All right, Mrs. Guess, Pat Guess, and she was a big motherfucker, and that was one of them schools where they could slam your ass. See, nowadays, I don't even know if they could do that shit no more. Back then, they'll slam your staff. Motherfucker run a draw, you can boom, and they'll slam your ass. You know what I'm saying? And hold you down and shit. I mean, they would stick me in the timeout room. The timeout room there was like, it was literally like a fucking empty cement fucking room that was like, but it was big. And they just sit you in there. They take your shoes, they take your shoes, they take your belt, and they stick you in there. So anyway, we'll tell more. And we'll come back to all that shit here and there, back and forth, right? So anyway, who pops up as our new schoolmate? Fucking Danny Rivera. So this motherfucker, Danny pulls up, right? So Danny looks in and he says, and he sees me. He's, oh, fuck. Right? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Let's on, bitches. So I'm ready. You know, so I'm going to, first chance I get, I'm fucking rolling this motherfucker, right? I'm still mad that he got me in trouble. I'm still like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? You know. So anyway, long story short, they, you know, that never happened. Me and him actually ended up becoming friends, which was kind of fucking, kind of my first time I ever learned that, you know what, I can be friends with other criminals and learn from them. One thing about me when I was a kid is I never understood like social functions and social shit like that. I never had anybody to teach me like how to make friends and how to be a good friend. I was always really socially awkward. My answer to everything was, I'm gonna punch this dude in the face. Like that was literally my answer to everything was, I'm gonna punch this dude in the face. You know, sometimes I didn't, sometimes I didn't. But I never really learned how to be a friend to people and how to, how to sniff out bad people and shit like that. To me, I was taught at a very young age. Your answer is no bullshit. The only advice my fucking piece of shit father ever gave me leading up until I was about 10 years old was, you know what? If you have a problem, just pick up a board and crack them in the shins. Well, I did that shit and I got in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So it was not, so I never had anybody to teach me those things. I never had anybody to take and just say, hey, listen, all right, this is how you handle that situation. This is how you handle that. And that's one thing that I've really been able to do with my sons is I've really been able to be there for them when they have those problems. My sons, we live in a city where my sons go to school and they're kind of the only white dudes there. You know what I'm saying? So they get tried. They were getting tried all the time when they were coming up. And I talk to them. I say, listen, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker can say whatever they want from over there. As long as they say it from over there. As soon as they invade your personal space, man, handle your business. And I literally would tell them, here's what you got to do. Here's how you got to do it. And I wish, man, that I had somebody like that when I was a kid. So that's kind of what this is all about. This is about, hey, kids, if, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of about parents. Listen, you know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to talk to so many parents want their kids to think they're perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I don't glorify none of this shit to my kids, but I want my kids to understand that, listen, I know what it's like to be 13 years old and not have a fucking clue. I know what it's like to be 13 years old and be like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? There were only two things that I did good when I was a kid. All right, get girls and fight. That was it. And I wasn't really all that good at fighting. I just did it all the time. There's a difference between being good at fighting and doing it all the time. I wasn't really all that good at fighting, but I did it all the time. And it wasn't until I was probably about 35, probably about, I don't know, 25 years old when I realized I don't like fighting. I like the pain. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so Danny Rivera shows up at Little Friends School. He's going to be, me and him become friends. And what do we end up doing? We end up getting his shit together. He doesn't live that far from me. We end up fucking, we end up getting in trouble for selling fake weed to Danny Good and shit. And and they brought us in. They got us in trouble. So I was such a bad kid that the other bad kid. So one day I got a knock at our door. Danny Rivera and his mama sitting out on the front lawn, sitting on a porch. His mama comes and says, listen, I know my son's not perfect, but these two motherfuckers can't hang out together no more. And that was when I realized, like, holy shit, I must be an awful person. Now, understand, that just told me I was an awful person. I didn't think nothing about it. I had already thought I was an awful person, and I had already been told that I was an awful person, so all I did was feed the awful person monster all the time. You understand? That's all I ever did. All I ever did was try to prove people right. So think about it. When you're a kid, what do you want? When you're a kid, what do you want? You want people to say, hey, here's your expectations. Here's the line. Stay between these lines and everything's okay. I never had anybody tell me those lines. Never. I never had anybody tell me if you stay between these lines, it's fine. They claimed they gave me structure, but they did. And I was also smart enough to know that I could get around that shit. So when Danny Rivera's mom finally comes over to my house and tells me and my mom, I'm saying, hey, listen, you're not allowed to hang out with my son no more. He's part of the problem too, but you're not allowed to hang out with my son no more. I was like, yeah, whatever, bitch. I ain't listening to that shit. And the next day I tried to go hang out with Danny Rivera, and he wouldn't hang out with me no more. And he was like my only friend at that point. You know what I'm saying? One of my only friends at that point. So again, this just kind of reinforced to me that, hey, listen, you're a piece of shit, and you gotta do piece of shit because that's what people want. You know what I'm saying? People, people are, if everybody's spending their life telling you, oh, you're just gonna do piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, then you're gonna do piece of shit. I'll give you an example. I was in second grade. All right, second grade. My teacher is Mrs. Norks, and I hate this fat fucking cunt to this day. And if you see her, tell her I hope she dies of fucking cancer of the fucking vagina. All right, because I fucking hate her. All right, I was in second fucking grade. Second grade, what is that? 8? 8 years old, and I would make noises in the class in my mouth. Whatever, right? You know, I think back then I was like first starting to hear rap music and there was some beatboxers. So I would make noises in class and I couldn't sit still and shit like that. And don't even get me started on the fucking, how people say ADD is a fucking disease. We'll talk about that later. So what does she do? This motherfucker took me in second grade, walked my ass to the BD class, all right? To the BD class in the school. Stood me by the motherfucking keyboard, by the motherfucking chalkboard, and made me sit there and make fucking noises while she let the class fucking berate me. And I mean, think about it. I'm what is second grade? 8 years old? You know what I'm saying? I'm 8 fucking years old. And this lady stuck me in front of the fucking class. All right, and made me make noises while they literally made fun of me. Like, louder, I can't hear you. Oh, you suck at that. Come on, louder. Oh, you think you're cool. I mean, just absolutely humiliating me in second fucking grade. And that was when I learned these teachers, they ain't shit. I don't trust these motherfuckers. They're allowed to get away with whatever the fuck they want. You know what I'm saying? And it made me very angry at that point too. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I went, where I started just being on angry shit. So I want to imagine that second grade, second fucking grade, this bitch stood me in front of a fucking class, a whole class, and allowed them to berate me while I sat there and fucking cried and made noises out of my fucking face. Now, a couple things on that. All right, number one, it was terrible of her to do in that situation. Terrible. Now, I coached Pee Wee football for the last 15 years, and everybody knows that I am the hardest fucking coach that you'll find. People talk about discipline. You come on RT, you are in discipline. We are, yes sir, no sir, all that shit. So one thing that taught me, and it stuck with me this whole year, man, that's second grade. You're talking, 35 years ago. And the lesson that stuck with me was, I didn't make any noises in fucking class no more. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I learned at an early age that humiliation is a good way to curb behavior. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't do that shit to my kids like that, but I will embarrass them and shit like that and then build them back up. But that was the problem, is she never built me back up. Never. She put me in this fucking room. You know what I'm saying? She put me in this fucking room, made me fucking, she put me in this room, made me make all the noises, never said anything, never talked to me afterwards and told me how I was supposed to learn from the fucking situation or none of that shit. Nope. She just fucking did it, embarrassed the shit out of me and moved on. So what happened at that? What do you do at that point? You start acting out more, right? I didn't make no noise, but I started acting out more. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Smith is eating his fucking cookies and I smack him in the mouth with them. You know what I'm saying? Or I start fucking, you know, picking on people or whatever. You know, that's how it starts. You know, again, no excuses, just telling you this is how it starts. So, you know, and I think I told my mom and she was like, oh, well, that sucks. You know, like, okay. You know, so anyway, and again, I'm going to jump all over the place here because, you know, one thing kind of leads into another. So anyway, at that point, that was when I kind of learned, you know what I'm saying, hey, listen, you know what I'm saying, humiliating people makes them not want to fuck with you no more. You know what I'm saying? So I became that's kind of when I became very, people tell you I'm very brutally honest, you know, and I've managed, and I don't give a fuck how what I say makes people feel. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter to me. It's not going to bother me. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my job to worry about your fucking feelings. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm also learned that that's not how you get things in the world. You know, if you want to get things in the world, tell a motherfucker, hey, listen, you know, I don't know why you fuck that ugly ass bitch. That's not the shit that's going to get you what you want in the world. But there's a time where you need to tell a motherfucker, listen, why are you letting this ugly ass bitch run your ass? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that shit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of that right there. I don't really know, you know what I'm saying? What I'd like more than anything is to have people ask me questions. You know, just ask me questions. Hey, have you ever this? Or hey, what about that? And as I talk to y'all more, you'll learn, you know what I'm saying? You'll learn more about me because it's a lot easier for me to answer questions for you, you know what I'm saying, than it is for me to just sit here and talk out the side of my ass all fucking ADD and backwards and shit. All right, guys, that's all for this episode right here. All right, tune in next time. All right, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about that time either, but at least, you know what, at least by then, hopefully you guys will ask me some questions. I'll have some shit that I can talk about and we can go back through it. But for now, man, I'm Uncle Deadeye and I'm out this bitch. Later.